Welcome back. Today is Monday, April 13th, 2020. And on Mondays, we know that we cover science lessons. And you have began in chapter 10 studying about matter. Last week, you learned that there are 3 types of matter. So today in your activity manual, which looks like this on the outside cover for science, we're on page 122, 123. And today is a day to make sure you understand about these 3 forms of matter. Okay, notice in the picture there's a balloon filled with air. There is a glass filled with maybe chocolate milk, and then bricks. And so we're classifying these pictures today. We're thinking about solids, liquids, and gases. So we're going to back up and make sure that we understand what we've covered so far. So think of today as a little tiny review from what we've already been studying. We've learned that matter is anything that takes up space and it has mass. Remember, everything you see is made of matter. From the clothes you wear, today I'm sporting my gator gear, big Florida Gator person here. So the clothes you wear, remember we talked about the pencil you might be using to do your assignments with today, your water you drink, the air you breathe. All these things are made of mass, take up space. And you might be thinking, what is mass? I've already forgotten, Mrs. Thomas. Mass is the amount. That's your secret right there, the word amount. Amount of matter in an object. And then you might be asking, how can you measure the amount of mass? Well, you can do that with a balance. Remember, we've discussed before, heavier objects weigh more. So on a balance scale, the heavier objects move down, the lighter objects move up to the top. Okay, so you know on a balance scale, look at in your bucket, look at the bucket going down. Think about filling 2 buckets on a balance beam with teddy bear counters. If I put 20 counters on this side and 5 counters on this side, we know the 20 counters of bears weigh more. So the balance beam goes down, 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 and the lighter goes up, up, up. So you measure mass because it can be measured. It's an amount of matter in an object. And then we talked about the 3 forms of matter being solids, liquids, gases. Solids are one form of matter. A solid has mass. It takes up space. But remember, unlike other forms of matter, a solid keeps its own shape. So in your activity manual, when you saw the picture of the bricks, remember they're considered a solid because they keep their own shape. Okay? That's what makes them a solid. And a solid keeps its own size. And then we talked about liquids last week. Remember the illustration of the liquid paint and the orange juice and the honey? So the important thing to remember about liquids changes shape to fit its container, but stays the same size. And to show you that, look at the paint. It's the same amount of paint, whether it was in this can or poured out into the paint can, the flat paint can, or the pan, not can, but pan, the flat pan. So liquids change shape to fit the container. See, now the liquid has a flat shape, doesn't it? Whereas before it took the shape of this can and it was round in shape. Okay, moving on, we studied gases. Gas is a form of matter. It has mass, But a gas is different from both a liquid and a solid. A gas can change both its shape and size. Gases are the only kind of matter that always fill their containers. So think about it in the illustration of a beach ball. Okay? Think about air as a gas, and when you breathe out air, you do not see it. But if you blow into a beach ball, you can see the beach ball change shape and size. Okay? So the air fills the ball. Even when the ball seems to be full of air, you often can still blow a little more air into it. So that was your refresher. Then we learned how to change a solid to a liquid. How do you think you do that? You can do that one by heating it. Okay. So when the solid melts, like think about melting butter in a pan on the stove. Butter can also melt if you leave it in bright sunshine. But the butter does not melt as quickly in the sunshine as it does on the stove. Now think about a candle. Candles are mostly made of wax. They are solids when they're left at room temperature. What happens to the candle when you apply heat to it? Well, when you light the candle, it starts to melt. And the heat from the flame causes the solid wax to change to a liquid. The liquid runs down the side of the candle. So remember, you can change a solid to a liquid with heat. Now, some solids are easier to melt than others. Things like butter and wax melt easily, but other solids, such as metals, do not melt easily. Metals have to be heated to very high temperatures before they melt. A kitchen stove is not hot enough to melt most metals. That's why metal pans are used for cooking. Now think about a new concept. Think about ice. Ice is a solid that can be easy to melt. During the winter, the water in bird baths and bowls for outside pets may freeze, like you saw in your icicle illustration. Okay. To change a solid to a liquid, we know we can use heat. We can heat water and pour the warm water on the ice to melt it. Water pipes can also freeze during cold winter nights. We again can use heat by wrapping the pipes with insulation or other warm materials. A solid has its own shape, but when it melts, it becomes a liquid. As a liquid, it can change shape. And we see a mom cooking. She took the liquid from the egg, and look what she did. She turned it to a solid by applying heat. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay. Then we learned last week about liquids to gases. Remember, we saw this picture. Liquids can also change when they are heated. When you add heat to a liquid, it changes to a gas. You have seen this happen with water. When it rains, the rain often forms puddles. When the sun comes out, the puddles dry up. What happens to the water? The heat from the sun causes the liquid to change to a gas. We say the liquid evaporates. You cannot see the evaporated water, but it is in the air. The gas that forms from water is called water vapor. So you saw this picture last week. Okay, you saw how a liquid changes to a gas when it is heated. Heating water on a stove can cause the water to boil. As the water boils, the amount of water in the pan becomes less. The water that left the pan has evaporated and become water vapor. Now, the last one today, gases to liquids. Matter can change form when it is heated. Okay, matter can also change form when heat is removed and it is cooled. Cooling a gas can change to a liquid. When a gas changes to a liquid, we say the gas condenses. Suppose you put some cold water into a glass. Later, you notice little water droplets on the outside of the glass. The cold glass cooled the air touching it. It cooled some of the water vapor in the air. The water vapor condensed and became drops of liquid. See how it made little droplets? Water vapor touching the cool window glass changes to a liquid. So think about it. Water vapor is in the air all around you. When the air becomes cool, the water vapor is also cooled. Remember, it forms droplets of water, and often the droplets form clouds. As clouds cool, the droplets join to form larger droplets. When the drops are big enough, gravity pulls them toward the earth as rain. Rain is condensation, and God provides water for many areas of the earth with rain. Now, the next time we do our science together, we'll do something fun called liquids to solids. And we'll think about the nice ice cream on a stick called a popsicle. Okay, so in Science Today, you want to work in your activity manual practicing the 3 types of matter: solids, liquids, and gases. Okay, I'll see you the next time.